Councilor Spansail.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. One piece that feels missing to me in this is Maslow's hierarchy. We know that we cannot solve mental health issues, drug dependency issues, regular physical health issues without first having shelter for people. This is the number one need that people have, and unfortunately this proposal doesn't provide housing. It eliminates the one form of shelter that hundreds of residents, as we just heard, have. And although we will allow for tents at specific points in time based on the weather, those limits and those temperatures are pretty low. And I know I, for one, would not want to be homeless on the Greenway without a tent, and most of the times of years, or anywhere in our city for that matter. That being said, I do want to say how much I appreciate that the council was offered a plan B. It does show a great willingness to listen to the public comments and the thousands of responses that we've heard. That being said, I think it's time that our cities show the compassion that we espouse in our council prayers at each meeting and find the wisdom and foresight as well. This evening we were able to pass salary increases that'll be about $140,000. It's been estimated of taxpayers' money to our highest paid city workers before we would consider looking at the bottom 110 employees that we have. And I expressed, my disappointment with that and just feel like we are not prioritizing solutions right now. So we hear from those same taxpayers that we're not spending our money wisely when we help provide roofs over the heads of our most vulnerable residents. The comment that I heard from some when I raised questions about the raises was that it would be okay because we have CARES money coming in right now. I think a stable, healthy city with money like that coming in from federal dollars to assist its residents does what it can do to make sure a roof is over the heads of all of our residents and people who reside within it. A city should strive to be looked up to, not to be looked down on. And I say that because this effort is going to this proposal won't bring long-term results and won't solve the problems that we're facing right now. The problems which are going to continue to come up, I anticipate, in our emails. We have a lot of attention on us right now, I think, with this issue, and folks are looking to us for solutions. We're a city that is in a great position to take the lead, to set a standard in Oregon. And are we going to take advantage of that opportunity? I want to let the public know that, because I'm sure all of us present tonight have looked at the public commentary on this issue, literally thousands of emails. I don't know about the rest of the council. I did my best to read everything, but I would wager to say that not a single one of us was able to read every single specific comment or public opinion or solution that came in, because embedded in our 30 attachment emails, there were a lot of solutions offered, and it would be interesting to be able to go back to a lot of those. So we have here in Medford, we've heard a lot of people with the frustration around the safety and the fires. This, some quotes: the situation on the Greenway is a disgrace, the scourge of homelessness is a disease, and something better be done about it. It must be eradicated. Again and again, I heard this is a disease, a scourge. I'm not sure how many medical professionals are listening tonight, but the cure for a disease is not throwing the body in jail. A disease can only be cured with hard work, good ideas, compassion, and medicine. We are not a health department. We do not have a health department, but we have a lot of opportunities to at least create housing. And I hope that, as we heard in the presentation tonight, that after this ordinance does pass, as I anticipate it will, that we can just move forward into those next steps in getting the housing that we so desperately need here. When I imagine people's lives are made a bit more difficult, if their criminal records are increased, and when potentially lawsuits begin making their way into our courts, the tax-paying citizens of Medford who wrote in with their concerns about money from our taxes continuing to flow towards the current situation on the Greenway. And I'm not sure I know the number, but maybe someone does, and we can hear that later, but about how much it actually costs to jail somebody for even one night, because I'm pretty sure the cost effectiveness is not there. And while I appreciate the fear of future urban fires, I do. I have those fears, and I don't want our Bear Creek and Greenway filled with the trash, the drug paraphernalia, feces. I cannot support this ordinance. It's not a solution to those issues or to the root cause of it, our lack of housing, affordable housing. Also, the ordinance is unconstitutional, whether we like it or not, and taxpayers can look forward to potentially spending millions in lawsuit settlements if we pass this bill tonight, as our community watches. So with that, I did just want to share one of the pieces of public testimony, if that's okay, from Hannah Waller. And she said, as a Medford-born citizen of the Rogue Valley, I humbly ask that you hear my heart. As someone who has had a loved one living on the streets in Medford, the proposed ordinance against camping brings me painful thoughts of my brother. He spent many nights in tents, below bridges, in storage units, and anywhere he could find to find some safety from the elements. He'd end up in the hospital with pneumonia and life-threatening sepsis due to his lack of a safe, clean place to lay his head. He didn't choose homeless life. It was simply a byproduct of a broken mind, a vicious cycle in today's society. He got caught by a raging river of instability, which started as a stream but rapidly formed into a deep ocean filled with currents that pulled him even further from safety. While my family did what we could do to help him, as with many suffering from mental illness, his illness had too firm a hold on him. We didn't have money to put him up in a home with care. There wasn't enough beds or hospitals or OHP accepting transitional housing, or long enough in the mission to give him some time to heal and get back on his feet. And they did want to honor Maslow Project that they helped him with some clean socks and food when they had it. It took him many years to be where he is now, employed, working on getting his license and a car, and living in his own trailer. What was the turning point, you may wonder? He was finally approved for Social Security, which gave him the opportunity to get off the streets and have a stable place from which to heal. He suddenly was able to fill prescriptions, to keep himself clean, to make meals. You see, we cannot help those in our society who struggle with even the base psychological needs by taking away their only form of shelter, warmth, and sleep. We must do what we can to raise them up. She continues, I never would like to complain without a potential solution. While I won't pretend to have the right answer for Medford, I would like to recommend that we look to other cities around the world that have been doing an incredible job eradicating homelessness. I hope my brother's synopsis was able to change the way you view the homeless. I know it did for me. With appreciation, Hannah Waller. So fellow council members, mayor, we see that our community is already coming together to find solutions. Hannah attached an article describing the success stories of other cities our size whose city council members have decided on compassion over cruelty. Others have suggested affordable lots that could be easily allocated to temporary housing and models that have been used to successfully eradicate homelessness in cities our same size. We need to look to these people, the people of Medford, the people that we represent. And speaking of representation, we on this council represent what the world sees when they see Medford, Oregon. Will it be compassion, success, or giving up and turning to policies that have failed communities time and again? It's well known at this point, as we said, that it's more cost effective to provide housing and shelter and affordable housing than to criminalize poverty and incarcerate. So I ask that we be leaders in our state and set the standard for solving this crisis without further traumatizing those who need our help the most. I know we have more resources, property, and philanthropists to create a housing first model and become an Oregon trendsetter instead of a legal test case. And thank you for listening.